The most skillful and talented power forward in the history of the game was at the peak of his powers. Kevin McHale is widely considered the greatest post-up scorer. In the 1986-87 season, he was making defenders look absolutely foolish. But it wasn't just the eye test or the numbers that truly makes this a one-of-a-kind season. It was the fact that he was torching each and every opponent he faced with one good leg. For one glorious year, he was being mentioned in the same breath as Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan. Let's travel back to memory lane and appreciate the greatness of this forgotten superstar. I'm also collaborating with CLNS NBA History and Storytellers. We'll have legendary sports journalist and Kevin McHale himself give us their unique insight. In the previous season, the Boston Celtics won the championship while having the most dominant season in league history. In the eyes of many, they have witnessed the greatest team ever. On top of that, Larry Bird won his third consecutive MVP award. So that means that the greatest team alive also had the greatest player in the world in the middle of his prime. The rest of the teams were going to have serious trouble contending against that. But as the 1986-87 season progressed, there was another big problem that they had to face. Kevin McHale had emerged as one of the game's top players, and he was getting serious consideration for being the next MVP winner. There was nobody who was a bigger supporter than his own teammate, Larry Bird. He surprised the media when he declared that McHale had better MVP credentials than he did. He then went into great detail on why he thought he deserved such an honor. He said this, according to the LA Times, after the Lakers acquired Michael Thompson: "There isn't anybody we know about in the league that they could pick up who could stop Kevin McHale. He's making 60% of his shots. He can score on anybody. Last year, there were a couple of players who can push him out of position and take away his shot. This season, it doesn't matter who's on him, even if it's 2 or 3 guys, he's gonna score." End of quote. Well, maybe he was just trying to be supportive of his teammate. The letter went to Danny Ainge, and he backed up everything that Bird said. He told reporters, "I don't think Larry's being modest. I think he's being honest. Kevin's been unbelievable. He's such a great post-up player. There hasn't been anybody in the league that's been able to shut him down." End of quote. The things that he was doing on offense was unprecedented. He became the first player to average over 60% from the field while scoring over 25 points per game. Since then, only Charles Barkley, Giannis, and Zion Williamson has been able to accomplish that feat. Players like Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, Shaq, or Nikola Jokic have never been that efficient of a volume scorer. What's crazy about this season is that in 82% of the games that he played, he shot over 50% from the field. It was as Bird mentioned, there was nothing that the teams could do to stop him. When you watch his highlights, you'll quickly understand why. Former NBA coach Hubie Brown told the Boston Globe he became the most difficult low post player to defend in the history of the league. He was totally unstoppable because of his quickness, diversification of moves, and the long arms that gave him an angle to release the ball over a taller man or more explosive jumper. Charles Barkley also famously said that he's the best player he's ever played against and had to guard. But that's not all.
The best low post man, other than, I have to give Kareem his due, other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or in addition to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, of the last 50 years, the best low post man unequivocally was, and technician in the low post, was Kevin McHale. And he had more moves than Kareem. Kareem had the hook, the great inimitable sky hook, and a little turnaround jumper. McHale he could post up on either box, turn to the right, turn to his left, had up and under moves, stutter step moves, had a variety of moves, and which Hubie Brown labeled once his bank vault of moves, quote unquote.
Many fellow players and coaches have hailed McHale as one, if not the best, low post player in NBA history.
Mac is unguardable. Mac had to be double team, triple team. He taught me it's only right.
You could not stop him. I've always said that you could not stop that guy. Okay, I can have some fun that night. Uh-oh. Better get a good night's sleep that night. I mean, we all say the same thing about different guys, but Kevin McHale is the best player I played against because he was unstoppable offensively and he gave me nightmares on defense.
He was so fundamentally sound that he always seemed to have the upper hand no matter who had the assignment to guard him. Due to his extensive array of low post moves, the opposition had no choice but to double team him constantly. And even then, the double team wouldn't come quick enough half the time because he had the game's quickest low post release. He had an answer for everything. The numbers speak for themselves. He averaged 26.1 points on 60% shooting, 9.9 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and 2.2 blocks per game. Just to give you an idea of what he was doing on a game-to-game basis, this is what he did to the Atlanta Hawks.
McHale in traffic.
Oh, what a shot, huh?
Finds McHale with a fadeaway. Nobody can block it.
Working McHale.
On the side. McHale against Willis. And a foul. We near the 2-minute period. McHale in heavy traffic. Great shot.
Let's not forget, the Hawks finished first in opponents' points per game, first in opponents' field goal percentage, and second in defensive rating. But they had no answers for the black hole that is Kevin McHale. He had 36 points on 75% shooting, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, and 2 assists. To give an idea of where he ranked among the league leaders that season, these are some of his notable rankings. He was first in field goal percentage, second in offensive rating, third in offensive win shares, fourth in win shares per 48 minutes, fifth in PER, and sixth in points. The numbers gave him the easy case for being the best power forward in the league. It was such a problem that the Lakers felt the need to steal Michael Thompson from the San Antonio Spurs through a mid-season trade. Many NBA experts were calling this a wise trade because Thompson matched up well against McHale. A week after the trade occurred, the Celtics were scheduled to face the Lakers at the Forum, and Burr was doubtful that the move was going to do them any good. Of course, he was right. He gave them 23 points on 53% shooting. But as much as we praise his offensive skill, we also don't want to forget how valuable he was on defense. In fact, he was selected to the All-NBA First Team defense and he finished 7th in blocks. Boston coach KC Jones made the interesting observation that he was playing defense against the best scorers in the league. This highlights how versatile of a defender he was. He wasn't just among the top rim protectors, he also got the assignment to guard players like Dominique Wilkins, Adrian Dantley, and Bernard King, and he was able to guard them very well.
So Kevin McHale's assets, though, go far beyond just scoring. 6'11" defensively, I can name or recall because he guarded everybody from 6'4" guys up to Ralph Sampson at 7'4". He was the guy that they asked to guard Dominique Wilkins. He's the guy who was asked to guard Julius Erving. He guarded small forwards, he guarded big forwards, he guarded centers, and he had he wasn't the quickest guy in the world, but he had good quick feet and he had extraordinary length of arms. A wingspan was enormous with his great long arms, and he had intelligence. He knew how to play, and he had great timing as a shot blocker.
This was a player that possessed a complete all-around game. It's no wonder that he finished 4th in MVP voting behind 3 of the greatest players of all time, Magic, Bird, and Jordan. On top of that, Larry and Kevin became the first forward duo from the same team to be named First Team All-NBA in the same season. Believe it or not, no one has done it since. This was easily the best duo in the game. However, he received terrible news towards the end of the season. It was later revealed that he was playing through a stress fracture in his foot. It wasn't diagnosed until the postseason. He mentioned to the Oklahoman in 2019 that he had already played with a broken foot for over a month before the start of the playoffs. Let's do some math here. Out of the 14 times that he shot under 50% from the field, 6 of those games came between March 15 through April 19. We know why the numbers went down during that period. But here's the crazy part. Despite playing under those harsh conditions, he still averaged 22.6 points on 54.1% shooting and 9.7 rebounds during that span. That's how skillful and talented he was on the low block. Under those conditions, he should have sat out the entire playoffs. He was putting his future at risk. But Kevin wanted to be out there for his team. He didn't know how many more chances he would have of competing for a title. That's what he played for. So he decided to tough it out and continue playing. He also mentioned to Cedric Maxwell for CLNS about his mindset.
Winning is the hardest thing to do in the NBA. And, so I came in the winning thing. So with Chris, I always just talked about my experiences with you guys and how you guys taught me and how you guys held me accountable. And when I messed up, you guys were not afraid to jump my ass either. I mean, many times I got to the bench and now Bill's going to yell at me. And I said, I've already heard it from Max, ML, Tiny, Larry. I messed up the coverage. I got it. To not play hard and go there and just say, this team sucks. I'm only going to give a half-ass effort. That kind of stuff. You don't do that.
Surely, everyone watching this is extremely impressed that he decided to continue playing through a broken foot. But that wasn't the only thing that he was playing through. In the first round, he suffered a sprained ankle that caused him to be sidelined for 2 games. Then in the conference finals against the Pistons, he was playing through the flu. It was one thing after another. But nothing was going to stop him from being out there on the court. He wasn't just giving moral support for his teammates. The reality that the Celtics would have never reached the finals if it wasn't for him. For the 1987 playoffs, he averaged 21.1 points on 58% shooting, 9.2 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks per game. Those numbers were historic. Did you know this is only one of 8 times that players average over 21 points per game on 58% shooting in the playoffs while at least reaching the conference finals? Even while playing playoff intensity basketball, he was still unstoppable on one good leg. It was amazing to see what he was doing for his team. What makes his playoff run even more impressive is how he performed in big pressure moments. For example, we have the infamous Game 4 double overtime thriller against the Milwaukee Bucks in the semifinals. He went for 34 points on 60% shooting, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks. On a broken leg and a sprained ankle, the dude played 56 minutes. He played every second of the game. Thanks to his contributions, the Celtics won by 1 point. The series later went to Game 7, and he had another marvelous performance. He recorded 26 points on 58% shooting, 15 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Then the conference finals against the bad boy Pistons, the series went to 7 games. As it can be said so many times for McHale, he came through when they needed him the most. He had 22 points on 73% shooting, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks. What Kevin McHale and the Celtics were doing in this playoff run doesn't get talked about enough. Everyone was playing through some kind of injury. The team was literally on its last leg, but their greatness, experience, and will to win was too much for their Eastern Conference opponents. As banged up as Kevin was for the finals, he was the team's most reliable player. Remember when the Lakers got Michael Thompson to supposedly contain McHale? There was still nothing he could do. For the series, he averaged 20.5 points on 59% shooting and 9 rebounds per game. As great as the 1987 Lakers were, they are very fortunate that they didn't get to see this player and this team in full strength. The outcome could have gone very differently. Although he wasn't able to end it all with a title, there's so many things that we can take away from this season. The first, that he was much more than just Larry Bird's sidekick. At his best, he was considered a top 4 player during the golden era of the NBA. There's no doubt in my mind that he had the talent to accomplish so many great things individually if he was the main guy for any other team. Then we have his mental toughness. For this aspect, we always bring up players like Jordan, Kobe, and Bird. But last time I checked, there was no one that played an entire playoff run with a broken foot and was still unstoppable. Next time anyone talks about mental toughness, this guy's name needs to be mentioned. He was willing to risk it all for his team, and he nearly brought Boston a title. Due to this decision, he was never able to reach this level of play. His play declined rapidly. But for one season, we saw exactly what his potential was. It was a short peak, but it was absolutely legendary. But what about you all? What do you remember the most about this season? Do you think the Celtics could have won the title if he was healthy? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.